Okay, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this 6 seconds webinar. My name is Ilaria Boffa, and I'm the Social Impact and Account Manager for 6 Seconds Europe. And I am delighted to be here today with Lorenzo Fariselli, our Regional Network Director for Europe.
Hello to everyone.
So we are really glad to have this conversation. So it's really a conversation with you also. So please use the chat to type your questions and comments. And over these last years, right, Lorenzo, we had several webinars on artificial intelligence and emotional intelligence. We discussed artificial intelligence in education, at workplace. We also produced, and we will be sharing this with you today, a report. But this time, we wanted to focus on a different theme, a different topic, and putting on a different kind of lens. But first of all, let me share with you so what is a general agenda that we're going to touch today. So first of all, we're going to put on the lens of Europe. So I know that there are several people today from different regions in the world, but we wanted just to focus a little bit on what in Europe we are doing and then to tap into this very important topic for us, that is ethics, and dealing a little bit with ethical dilemmas and how this brings up the importance of emotions and linking emotions with artificial intelligence in order then to put and create the foundation for a new society. So, are you ready for this journey? I hope so. We will be together, and please, again, ask questions in the chat and share your comments. So, a few words about 6 seconds. First, for those of you in the chat who do not know us, 6 seconds is the largest, most probably still, organization, network, group that worldwide is working to have 1 billion people practicing emotional intelligence. So we are present, we have a global presence, working in over 200 countries, and our approach tends to be as much inclusive as possible. So we are really using multiple languages, over 27 languages, in order to reach out to all the possible communities out there. And we also are working and collaborating with other organizations and having our courses accredited in with organizations that probably you all know, just like ICF, so the International Coaching Federations, or MCC, HRC, and many others. So we really want people working with us knowing that they can continue their pathways also with these other organizations globally spread and that are also using emotional intelligence. And finally, our aim, our let's say our core action is to use research, so go into what it is scientific and validated in order to offer you, all of you today also, assessments, programs, methodologies, models that are really scientifically validated, based, rooted on neuroscience, and that can provide a starting point for you. So, as said, today we're going to work on artificial intelligence and emotional intelligence, starting from a different, putting on a different lens. And it's the lens of Europe. So many of you probably read, as we did, and we do every day, that Europe somehow is falling behind in terms of technology, in terms of artificial intelligence. And this can be true in the sense that we relied a lot on others, especially US and Eastern technologies, okay? But what maybe we do not know, oversighted is that Europe also worked and is the first continent and the only one to produce an act that is called the Artificial Intelligence Act to somehow cluster and also give guidance on the use of artificial intelligence. And especially what it is at the core of the action of Europe is this, is to ensure that artificial intelligence works for people and is a force for good in society. So Lorenzo and I, while preparing this webinar, we were really thinking, well, this is at the core also of our action, ensuring that systems, all the possible tools and resources works for people and are a force for good in the society. And maybe also, Lorenzo, you can put the Artificial Intelligence Act, the two links in the chat. So maybe if you never heard of this or read this, you can you have something then to go in depth. And the approach, the European approach, is an approach that is a risk-based approach. And it doesn't mean that we do not recognize the value, the opportunities, and the good that artificial intelligence and technology is bringing to us. But it was important for Europe to identify risks that maybe are not acceptable, risks that are too high and needs to be moderated, and then risks that are tolerated. And the risks that this act identifies are risks, especially the non-acceptable one, are risks that have to do with safety, with health, with justice, with privacy also. So all that is about the human core that we should be able to preserve somehow. So the idea is really to work with tools, resources, considering the human aspect, okay? And also in this European Act, there's a transparency risk that I think is very important, and many of the sources of generative AI are using, and it's about the transparency risk. So every time that we interact with an artificial intelligence chatbot, for example, we should know. So it should be made clear that on the other side, there's an artificial intelligence system. And so we can make our choice and we can really think of what is important for us in that moment. So I let Lorenzo guiding us into what is for us at the core of this conversation, that is ethics.
Thank you, Ila. And first of all, what is the main emotions that is linked, that is related to artificial intelligence for you? So if you can type in the chat, we could start to collect some emotional data. Curiosity, oh, thank you. Prudence, yes, need to be cautious, yeah. Uncertainty, attraction and fear, yes, attraction and fear.
This polarization, right?
Between yes,
the fear and
anxiety, enthusiasm. Okay. So we are starting to collect emotional data, and as you know, it's a main point. Well, I would like to start this conversation talking about something that happened to me a few months ago. Well, I was a speaker at a conference here in Italy, and as soon as I walked in the location of this conference, I start to saw posters everywhere on which Industry 5.0 was written. Everywhere, these words, Industry 5.0. So I said to myself, well, maybe it means we are in the Industry 5.0. Very smart. Later I had the confirmation. I can say to all of you that today we are in the Industry 5.0, and it means we are in the fifth industrial revolution. And this is a phase of evolution of the production system that is based on something really specific, an integration between human and machine. I don't know what is your opinion, but I would say that the machine is ready. I see the AI, so the artificial intelligence, looking very good. And the question for you, and maybe the question for all of us, is the human being ready? The industry is at version 5.0. And what is the number of the version of our internal software as a human being? Do you want to type in the chat what is the version?
2.25. I love that.
Well, Cherry, 4, a little bit lower than the 5.0, but it's good. Potentially
10.
Potentially. And in the reality, what do you experience? We were in 4.0, but I fear we are regressing. Paul. I think we had to work on this. Yes, I think we have the opportunity to work on this. Maybe we need to update our internal software. And the reason, it's my opinion, the reason is, for instance, that we pretend to use our smartphone, but it seems in the reality, we are used by our smartphones, locked in a vicious circle. And so my question is, why should the story with artificial intelligence should be different? So my point is that we can't approach this integration, human and machine, without focusing the attention on our skills as a human being. And I'm talking about the skills of emotional intelligence. And we have to go in depth in a crucial topic. And this crucial topic is ethics. Maybe in some minutes, we will be more clear why I'm going to talk about ethics with Ilaria. But the main reason is that I don't want to talk about emotional intelligence as a tool that can support artificial intelligence. But I would like to start the webinar discussing with you about emotional intelligence as the key to be human beings driven by ethics. I think this is what we need today if we want a real integration between humans and machine, and not an acquisition disguised as integration. So let's talk about ethics and ethics. It's Ilan. Yeah, thank you very much.
Sorry,
ethics,
maybe there's a delay. Probably there's a delay. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Ethics studies the fundamentals that allow human behavior to be assigned a deontological status. So we can say that a certain action is good, right, unjust, wrong, improper. And we can define ethics as it's really intriguing, this definition, because we can define ethics as a normative and social institution together. Now, you can see this definition, and institution because it is an entity unrelated to the individual. In fact, ethics exists before and after the individual. And it's an institution because it coordinates a group by performing a social function. Normative because it leads people to experience pleasant and unpleasant feelings according to its norms. And social because it puts limits on the individual desire to pursue a greater goal. And for the people expert in the success model, we can start to see a direct link with pursue noble goals. Well, I think today the big fear we have against AI is about how can we manage the ethical dilemmas. If an AI makes a mistake, who needs to pay for this mistake? If we accept that artificial intelligence is more efficient than a human being in the workplace, what's the benefit and what do we sacrifice? Should artificial intelligence be used in the military field? If we use too much AI, are we going to lose our critical thinking and autonomy or not? So, really challenging. Many dilemmas have been raised, and a methodology to discuss ethical dilemma is to try to solve borderline cases. An example of borderline casing, and then Ilaria will show an activity for you. An example is evading taxes is unethical because if everyone does it, the services and benefits we enjoy as a community would be gone. It is a borderline case that everyone does not pay taxes, but it is the case that makes the individual's behavior ethical or unethical. Well, we have prepared an activity to talk about ethical dilemmas, and you are going to be the programmer of a self-driving car. So, Ilaria, please.
Yes, so what we wanted to discuss together are two scenarios. So the first one is this. So imagine you are, into this beautiful autonomous vehicle. So these vehicles are called AVs, right? And so maybe you are chit-chatting with your partner or with some friends while driving. And while driving, at a certain point, there are obstacles, and so the vehicle, and you are seeing that in a few seconds, two bikers will cross your street, and you could have the choice to make a left, and so hitting the biker without the helmet, as you can see on the left. Or the AV could decide to go to make a right, and then maybe thinking, well, I'm going to hit the other biker that has the helmet, right? So at least they respected the law, and maybe also less damage because they have the helmet. It's always, in any case, a human being. Or maybe a third scenario is slowing down and maybe reducing the damage, but going straight and hitting both. What would you choose in programming the AV? How would you program that? Make a left, make a right, going straight, and on the basis of what? So the lady without the helmet, you can type in the chat, maybe how would you program the AV in this very simple but real case? In any case, there will be damage, right? What should the AV choose? Thank you, Lorenzo, for the recap in the chat. Remember, you are the programmers. Thank you, Cherry. this is an unfair example because the human being would decide based on guts feelings. We will go back to that later. Thank you so much. Yeah, we know that the problem is that many of those responsible for contributing the AI content do not have the AI required. Thank you, Kathy. Lowest possible damage to people. Yeah, there's no right or wrong answers, right? We are just offering to you what it could happen. And remember, reality can be definitely more complex, right? So how many scenarios we should program in order to have these vehicles running in the street? Maybe Mara is a possibility, programming to just stop at every single, if you see something that is crossing your street and you abruptly stop. Is this something that you would do?
Maybe in this case, the damage is on the driver because the stop is really quick. And so
For example,
yes, we are saying that the damage is for the driver.
For example. And let's take a look to another scenario. So this was, this case of hitting people in any case. So let's imagine that again, we are on a different kind of vehicle or the same vehicle. And again, we are in the street and we have a girl crossing the street with her dog. And so this is the possibility of crashing into her. And if we make a left abruptly or, without having the time to stop, we can hit this lady waiting for the bus at the bus stop. Or if we bake the ride, maybe we could go into, and it's for sure in this case, we make the ride and we go into this hollow. And so damage for the car and maybe damage for the passenger, right? For us. So again, how would you program the AV? Making a left, A, making a right, going straight, maybe slowing down again. So also in this case, all your considerations that you typed in the chat, Anna Sophia, you say B. Most of us definitely would go probably, I don't know, I'm assuming the ditch, exactly. So the hollow, the ditch, and going into that. Maybe if this other variable would be in place, could be in place, baby on board, what would you do? Still going into the ditch and maybe crashing the car with your baby on board? Would you do that? Who knows, right? How would you program this car? That's the reason why we are using seatbelts. Yeah, definitely. But again, reality is very complex. And the assumptions here is that, we can create scenarios with how many variables? 2, 3, 4. The reality is really complex, as we are saying. So where is choice? Choice in the real moment. So maybe something else happens while this vehicle is leading us, is driving. And can we intervene? Where is instinct, for example? A person put this in the chat. The instinct of doing something, maybe slowing down, stopping immediately, or whatever else. So the freedom, the human ability to decide in the moment, to take an action and to go with that, considering the reality in that exact moment. This is probably something that we will have to deal with in the very near future.
Yes, Hilaria. And thank you to all of you about your answer. Maybe we we are starting to see the challenge also in programming this kind of machine, because at a certain point maybe we need to set a guideline and follow a specific rule. But the question that I want to ask to all of us is who should decide? Someone in Silicon Valley, the community, the driver? Who? Well, I don't have the answer, and maybe no one difficult. Yes, Mara. Maybe this is the answer. A transparent algorithm the buyer of the car is aware of, yeah, and maybe could change this. Maybe, in my point of view, the most important thing to consider is that if we want an ethical decision, this person or group of people or company or council need to be smart with emotions. We can't talk about ethics if we don't take into consideration the emotional variable. And in this society that is becoming more and more fast and also superficial, it's a problem. In the last 10 years, the global EQ, so the emotional quotient, is decreased. So we are going to face crucial challenges without essential skills like the emotional intelligence competencies. And neuroethics is the study of both the ethics and neuroscience. I don't know if you ever heard about neuroethics. It's really intriguing. And over the years, from the 60s, we can see 4 different models describing our ethical mind. Now we are going to see this model. We don't have time to go in depth to all of them. But the point that I would like to underline is in the 60s, cognitive psychologists supported the theory of rationality as the only thing that shapes moral judgment. And emotions come afterwards. And this is the first one. Ila, you can click on...
I can show all of them?
Yes, okay. You can see. We can see these 4 models. And the subsequent models show emotion as the essential part of moral judgment. It's a crucial point because we are saying that neuroscience is revealing us that emotion plays a fundamental role in the moral judgment, have a crucial role in ethics. Emotion as information becomes the first essential cornerstone for addressing the issue. Emotion is deeply interconnected with moral evaluation. And Ilaria, some days ago, told me, well, you know, that in 6 seconds we are used to say emotion drive people and people drive performance. And Ilaria told me, well, we can say that emotion drive ethics. Ethics is essential to drive artificial intelligence, so emotion drive artificial intelligence. Yes, I think we can say this. And the most important thing to underline is training our emotional sensitivity is our responsibility because well, if you click Ila, and
Yeah.
we can go yes, in this slide, artificial intelligence has a big blind spot.
Sorry, Lorenzo, just to
Yeah.
interrupt you because I'm reading a few comments in the chat and I like what I'm reading, and so they are saying that for example, emotional intelligence will guide ethical decisions made by a community. So I love the fact that there's this recognition of communities,
Mm-hmm.
communities maybe that they can discuss together what is the role of ethics, what is the role of, even of emotions in this field. So it's not about only a few people discussing at a level that is the power level, but maybe it's more of a collective, decision. It's more of a collective action that we could take. And then also I think what Kata was saying, that she says, I think that it's much more complex. So um, definitely here, probably during this 1 hour webinar, we are very much simplifying. Thank you, Kata, for reminding us this, because definitely there are so many implications and so
Mm-hmm.
many variables. We are just trying to put some seeds and maybe asking some questions and raising some doubts, and also to have a discussion, right, in our
Yeah.
community. So sorry to interrupt you,
No,
Lorenzo.
no, it's the complexity is really high. Um, our point maybe is that emotion are complex and emotion are part of this discussion. And considering that emotional quotient is decreased over the years, maybe we have a problem. Maybe we need to start to think about how, as individuals and as a community, can start to train seriously our emotional intelligence. And if we are here at this moment, maybe we know that emotion has a crucial role. And I would like to see everyone start to think about emotional impact of our decision in order to put emotion in our decision making, especially in this time where artificial intelligence is going fast, really fast. Maybe our responsibility is to grow as a human being. And I was starting to talk about the big blind spot about artificial intelligence because we asked to ChatGPT to take our EQ questionnaire, so the assessment, and this is the result: 93 on emotional quotient, and consider that the average is 100. So we are below artificial intelligence is below the average. And this is on the left, our face, not because of the result, but because an artificial intelligence like ChatGPT answered to a questionnaire on emotions without having any experience on that. Isn't strange? Isn't odd? What the effect on you about thinking that an artificial intelligence answered about emotions, answered to a questionnaire that is able to investigate the emotional intelligence of a human being?
That actually, Lorenzo, is what we are keep doing, asking also about situations that actually imply, right, the experience of feelings, and we go on to ChatGPT asking weird questions. So we did the same, actually, with our questionnaire, and yes, so the results were this, but it's very important your question.
And Paul, the programmers talk often about technical debt, the cost of using shortcuts in software development to deliver resulting code that requires rework later.
Hmm.
Wow, thank you, Paul. Yes, and maybe we talked with ChatGPT to find emotional advice, tips, shortcuts.
Yeah, I love what Genter is. Sorry for my pronunciation, and probably Harold, sorry. He says that's the point. The AI was answering a questionnaire that is structured in a logical way to be measurable. Also, humans can answer questions to show up different than they are, they really are.
Hmm.
Well, yes and no. Because of the statistical indicators and everything, but definitely you can also because but then you see, Harold, what's the point? In the sense that what we do also during, right, Lorenzo, our debriefing sessions with people, if you lie to yourself, so these are self-assessments. So you answer the EQ questionnaire for whom? For yourself. So why lying? And so we always say, this is just a starting point. This is what you answered. So be authentic, be honest in just saying, oh yeah, I don't recognize my patterns, for example.
Mhm.
I could do better, right? So, but do you think that artificial intelligence would know by heart? I mean, from the inside, we should instruct them and say, well, be authentic. But what is authenticity in artificial intelligence, in ChatGPT, for
and
example?
and Harold is telling us there is no self in artificial intelligence. Well,
Exactly. Yeah, Alessia. Remember that empathy is not a checkbox. It's not just recognizing an emotion in a sentence or selecting the right label. True empathy means feeling with, not just identifying. It involves present vulnerability and the ability to be transformed by another person's experience. AI might describe sadness, it might even respond with comforting words, but it doesn't carry the emotional weight.
well,
Absolutely.
Alessia, I want to continue after your words because maybe also this graph is telling us that artificial intelligence is really good to solve IQ problems, and maybe we can say that human beings are better to solve EQ problems, so related to emotional intelligence. And I want to underline also that we need to understand that he isn't enough being human to be good in understanding and managing emotions. We need to train our emotional intelligence. We need to focus the attention on how we can increase our vocabulary, emotional vocabulary, enhance our emotional literacy, identify our patterns, navigate our emotion, increase our empathy. So this is the main point. He isn't enough being human to be good in understanding and managing emotion. We need to train ourselves. And
Can we train? Sorry, Lorenzo.
boss, yeah,
Sorry.
yes,
Yes, I was reading.
I was.
Yeah, you also.
Can we train AI bots to be more emotionally intelligent? How to train AI in a queue?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the work I'm doing. Katie, maybe you have more answer?
Yeah, Dr. Kathy Greenberg, and actually integrating emotional awareness and languages is something that many experts are doing. Probably Dr. Kathy Greenberg can tell us more about her work and what she's doing. And we also at 6 Seconds, we met a lot of AI experts integrating, honestly, the language with emotional intelligence in the sense that, right, they are in integrating these words about emotions and also reframing the questions, asking more questions when we are interacting with this system. So definitely this can be done.
Yeah,
Probably the reverse is the most important part. It's can we human beings be more emotionally intelligent in order to then also programming systems, right? Because in the
exactly.
end, who is programming artificial intelligence?
Yes.
Humans or other artificial intelligence systems. So it's
Yes, maybe the point is the start
yeah.
of this webinar. Um, we would like to underline that emotional intelligence could be a tool that support artificial intelligence to be more efficient, and emotional intelligence could be considered something different, the tool to be ethical, to understand how to be driven by ethics. And in next slide, please, Ila, um, you can see this data, and this data shows how the hype around artificial intelligence has led to massive investment. How much are we investing in our human evolution? Now the organization asks 6 seconds for support to find solutions starting from symptoms, disengagement, high turnover. But the reality is that organizations should invest in emotional intelligence because it's the only way to make a real integration with artificial intelligence. The organizations are using emotional intelligence to solve problems and not to set the most effective environment to lead this process of massive transformation. I think this is the point. Use the emotional intelligence in a strategic way and not as a tool, only as a tactical way to make artificial intelligence more efficient.
Mm.
Does it make sense, Ilan, and
Absolutely, I think
all of
so.
you?
Yeah. And I dream to have another webinar with several panelists again
Mm,
from different fields and discussing. And Dr. Kathy Greenberg, we would be delighted maybe to share ideas with you and with other, of course, other people, and not only experts. I mean, just
mhm,
all of us as a community, as a network, to contribute together to have this discussion going on. Also, because as Lorenzo was sharing, not sharing all the businesses, I mean, we at 6 Seconds, we are investing in artificial intelligence. Absolutely, because it's definitely making our life better in terms of maybe producing slides, maybe translating content on several different topics. Absolutely. So it's fantastic what it is creating in reducing what is the mechanical work, let's say. But it's also very important to notice, as per our status, AI, EI workplace status report, how many people actually are saying, yes, that is fantastic, but human skills are timeless and always important. We are scared and concerned about future generations that maybe will not be equipped with, the skills that are important for the future. And also that 1 out of 3 of employees are saying that they are offered limited or even no human skill training programs at their companies. So in recent years, we are really focusing on the technical aspects, okay, on how to use artificial intelligence. So we need to work more on this to use artificial intelligence and see emotional intelligence in a strategic way, as Lorenzo said. And also, we'd like to conclude considering opportunities of artificial intelligence that maybe are indirect opportunity. And I shared this with Lorenzo, and he said, "Yes, let's share this." And it's a quote from a person that we all know, and it's this person is not into business, but we feel that he shared a piece of wisdom. And this person is the Dalai Lama. And the Dalai Lama, discussing technology and artificial intelligence, said this a few years ago, saying that there's a growing number of people who feel they are no longer useful. They feel that they are not connected to their societies. And so this feeling is leading to social isolation. But after saying this, he also gave us a kind of solution, because he says that leaders need to recognize that a compassionate society must create, it has to be created. And this can create wealth of opportunity for meaningful jobs and works for where everyone who is able to contribute can do so. This is a wonderful opportunity. This is what we should do. We should channel our energy, our passion, our skills, our intention in the designing of new jobs, meaningful jobs for everyone, designing new disciplines in schools, at universities that can really deal with this and offer new opportunities, even reshaping, reframing, redesigning services for humans. So there's a world. It's just like AI and EI created this third space that is full of opportunities for all of us. Experts, non-experts, communities coming together, discussing what's there, what as humans we can do with all that we have created. Never forget that we generated AI, right? So what can we do now? How can we go back to the core and focus even more on this, redesigning a just, inclusive society? Maybe you can put some ideas already in the chat, comments, emotions. Sorry. Maybe Lorenzo, you'd like to say a few words?
Yes, I'm putting my email on the chat. And well, Abdullah is writing humans' role is challenged with AI. And I think it's true. And where there is a challenge, there is also always a big opportunity. So our opportunity is to rediscover our skill as human beings. And this is a wonderful opportunity because it means that we can double click on our humanity and express our humanity in a proper way, in every time we have the chance to do it. I would like to continue to read the comments.
Let me just, ask and stop to sharing so we can also properly read the chat.
That's exactly the
Yeah.
point. In a world that becomes more automated, more optimized, our deepest human needs don't go away, they grow. That's why emotional intelligence is not a luxury, it's the antidote to a very modern form of loneliness. Oh, yes.
Mm, absolutely. And I love also what Anna Sophia wrote that that really is the only way. Look for the opportunities to elevate the human race based on what we ourselves create. Definitely. So we are, in a way, we are the guidance of our future. We are everything. We are the leaders, we are the builders, and of course, we need to also manage and assess the risks and consider ethical implications. We can't. So it's so fast the problem, the process that's why we wanted to have this webinar with all of you because we need to stop and reflect a little bit and share ideas among us and also fears, right? And what could be the next steps together as a community, as a collective? What can we do? So I think that a lot can be done together again. As the Dalai Lama said, we can definitely shape a new society, but always considering everyone's contribution.
Thank you to all of you, and thank you, Ilaria, for
Thank you,
for
Lorenzo.
this for this webinar, and keep in
Let's
touch.
keep in touch. Yes,
Yeah,
you will be receiving an email for sure and the recording. And so then, if you want to connect with us, let me also leave my email. I will contact you for sure, but let me put this. Our emails are always the same, very predictable. So you don't need to ask ChatGPT. It's always name dot last name at 6seconds.org.
easy.
Easy, easy.
Okay.
Thank you, all of you, for
Bye,
interacting
everyone.
and have a good rest of your day. Bye.